TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations.
Shalom, Erev Tov, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News, broadcast to you from Jerusalem. 3 diseased hostages are returned to Israel, leaving 8 murdered hostages in Hamas captivity in the Gaza Strip to date. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warns that while Iran sustained heavy blows, it is trying to rehabilitate its terror axis. Syria's de-facto President Ahmad al-Sharaa is expected to become the first Syrian leader in history to visit the White House. 3 deceased hostages were returned to Israel last night after the Islamist terror organization Hamas held their bodies captive for 757 days. And following the completion of the identification process by the Israeli National Institute of Forensic Medicine, IDF representatives informed the families of Colonel Asaf Hamami, Captain Omer Maxim Neutra, and Staff Sergeant Oz Daniel that their loved ones have been returned for burial in Israel. According to the information and intelligence available to the IDF, Colonel Asaf Hamami served as the commander of the Southern Brigade in the Gaza Division. He fell in battle while fighting in the southern community of Nirim on the morning of October 7th of 2023, and his body was abducted by the terrorist organization Hamas. Asaf was among the first to reach the combat zones and fight the invading terrorists of Hamas. He was 40 years old at the time of his death. Colonel Hamami is survived by his parents, a brother, his wife, and 3 children. May his memory serve as a blessing, and may God grant comfort to his family. Captain Omer Maxim Neutra, a dual American-Israeli national, immigrated to Israel from the United States as a lone soldier through the Gar'in Tzabar program. He served as a platoon commander in the IDF 77th Battalion of the Armored 7th Brigade. He fell during a defensive battle in the southern communities near the Gaza border on the morning of the October 7th massacre of 2023, and his body was abducted by the Islamist terrorist organization Hamas. His death was officially determined on December 1st of 2024. Omer was 21 years old at the time of his death. He leaves behind his parents, 2 brothers, and 2 sisters. May his memory serve as a blessing, and may the Lord God grant comfort to his family as well. Staff Sergeant Oz Daniel served as a combat soldier in the 77th Battalion of the 7th Brigade. He fell during a defensive battle in the southern communities near the Gaza border the morning of October 7th of 2023, and his body was abducted by the Islamist terrorist organization Hamas as well. Oz was 19 years old at the time of his death. His death was officially determined on February 25th of 2024. He leaves behind his parents and a twin sister. May his memory serve as a blessing, and may the Lord God grant comfort to his family too. Meanwhile, at the weekly cabinet meeting in Jerusalem, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stressed that while the Iranian axis of terror proxies suffered devastating blows, it is proactively trying to recover.
The Iranian axis suffered a massive blow. We broke it in many places, and even where we broke it, it still exists, licking its wounds, trying to recover. Our effort is to deny it the ability to recover, and this is what we are doing on the various fronts. The first front is in Gaza, where Hamas suffered crushing blows. It is a shadow of what it once was, but it is also trying to recover. We are operating on 4 focal points. 1. Returning our hostages. Their attempts are pathetic, trying to mislead us, the U.S., and the world. They will, of course, not succeed, and we will gradually bring back all of our hostages. We are committed to this. Second, there are still Hamas pockets in the areas under our control in Gaza, and we are systematically eliminating them. There are 2 in Rafah and in Khan Yunis, and they will be eliminated. Third is the entire question of risk to our forces, and my directive is unequivocal. If there is an attempt to harm our forces, we strike those who inflict the harm and also their organization, for the purpose of protecting our forces. This is what we have determined. We report to our American friends. We do not ask for their permission. This must be understood because I hear many things that are simply incorrect. We maintain the supreme security responsibility, and we will not relinquish it. Fourth is the disarmament and demilitarization of Hamas. Disarming Hamas, demilitarizing the Gaza Strip is the principle we uphold. This is the principle agreed upon between me and President Trump. This is how we operate, according to a clear plan. Of course, if this is not done in the first way, then it will be done in the second way, and everyone knows what the second way is and who will also carry it out.
Prime Minister Netanyahu continued to discuss the Lebanese front, where the Iranian proxy Hezbollah continues to violate the ceasefire on a daily basis, forcing Israel to react forcefully.
Regarding Lebanon, Hezbollah is indeed taking hits all the time, including in these very days, but it is also trying to arm itself and recover. We expect the Lebanese government to do what it committed to do, namely, to disarm Hezbollah, but it is clear that we will exercise our right to self-defense as stipulated in the ceasefire conditions. We will not allow Lebanon to become a renewed front against us and will act as necessary.
Prime Minister Netanyahu went on to highlight the southern threat of the Iranian proxy Ansar Allah, which is dominated by the Houthi tribe in Yemen, which continues to pursue a program for the destruction of Israel.
The third place that attention should be paid to, which the Israeli public does not notice, is the Houthis. The Houthis appear to be a negligible nuisance. From time to time, they fire a ballistic missile at us. We intercept these missiles. This looks like a small matter. It is not a small matter. It is a very great threat from a movement that is fanatical in the most extreme way imaginable, that has its own production capability for ballistic missiles and other weapons as well, and it is committed to what they call the program for the destruction of Israel. This is not theoretical. This is something that can develop over time. It is, of course, coordinated with Iran, and we will do everything necessary to eliminate this threat as well. In other words, we are still operating against an axis that, even though it is broken and beaten, it is still trying to renew its plans for the destruction of Israel. We will, to say the least, deny it the capabilities to do so.
Meanwhile, in the Kingdom of Bahrain, U.S. Special Envoy for Syria, Tom Barrack, who also serves as Washington's ambassador to Turkey, warned the Lebanese government that unless Beirut engages with Jerusalem directly and fulfills its obligations vis-à-vis the disarmament of Hezbollah, the United States will not deepen its involvement.
My message is really simple. America is not going to get deeper involved in a situation in which you have a foreign terrorist organization and a failed state dictating a pace and asking them for more resources, more money, more help. It's simple. Lebanon can do what it wants to do. The path is very clear that it needs to be to Jerusalem or Tel Aviv for a conversation, along with Syria. Syria is showing the way. Syria will get there first. Lebanon can draft in it or not. And Israel will react to them accordingly. We have nothing to do with it.
Ambassador Barrack continued by addressing the Trump administration's approach to Syria, which is rooted in his own recommendations, as part of which Washington believes that Damascus could normalize its relations with Jerusalem.
Syria, with a new regime that came into effect on December 8th, from guerrilla warfare and fatigues to a statesman with 25 million people, a new country, a new opportunity, and President Trump coming on May 10th, and in 10 minutes in Saudi Arabia said, give this man a chance, give this regime a chance. After almost 2 decades of atrocities from Assad, the al-Sharaa regime steps into place, and in 10 months is speed dating towards something we've never seen. perhaps even towards the road of normalization with Israel. He lifted the sanctions. We still have the Caesar sanctions. We can talk about that. It's the last one to lift. Senator Rubio got rid of state-sponsored terrorism. It's a look back. It wraps every 6 months, so it comes back December 31st. But this regime has done a very good job in spite of the speed bumps, right? We had problems in al-Sharaa. We had problems in the West. In Gaza, we had a ceasefire and we have speed bumps. It's going to happen. It's going to happen everywhere. And the only way to extinguish those speed bumps is with momentum and prosperity that has to come from the region.
Ambassador Barrack's reference to bumps in the road, so-called, refers to a number of actual massacres that the Damascus regime and its allied jihadi forces perpetrated against minorities, to include Druze and Christians in the southern governorate of Sweda, where over 2,000, mostly civilians, were brutally massacred. And while President Trump's envoy claims to have resolved the issue, the Damascus regime continues to impose a brutal siege on Sweda governorate, with a humanitarian catastrophe rapidly in the making. Nevertheless, regardless of Damascus's continued aggressions against minorities, Syria's de facto president Ahmad al-Sharaa, formerly Mohammed al-Julani during his years in the Islamic State and al-Qaeda, is expected to become the first Syrian president to ever visit the White House in history, a meeting reportedly scheduled for November 10th.
He may be coming, I don't know. I mean, he's working very hard. We took sanctions off of Syria to give them a chance at survival, and I hear he's doing a very good job.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. I would like to thank you if you are a supporter of TV7 Israel, since your donation is essentially helping us produce our daily news updates from here in Jerusalem. If you haven't yet supported TV7 Israel, which is exclusively donation-based, please consider doing so. You can donate via our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. Separately, as ever, pray for our brothers and sisters facing persecution globally, along with prayers for the peace of Jerusalem and redemption of Israel. Jonathan Essen wishing you a Shavua Mevorach, and God willing, until our next update, Shalom from Jerusalem.